Everybody, really quick before I start with For the Love of Writing in this next episode, which I know you're going to love, I want to tell you a little bit about Sleepless High School Hell. It's book one, and thank you to everybody who has read it. And for those of you who haven't, I don't know what's taking you so long. Maybe you're in another good book right now, which I get it. But get Sleepless High School Hell as soon as you can. It's on Amazon. I want to tell you a little bit about the backstory and about Sleepless. Sleepless is going to be a big universe that I have you all dive into soon enough. This is just book one. I've got about 14 books so far scheduled. I've been busy, but High School Hell is about a kid named Stephen Klein. He's new kid at the school, which means new bullies. He ends up meeting this girl named Alexis. He falls in love with her, and before he knows it, Alexis is telling him that they need to get rid of the bullies. And without giving the whole story away, it backfires on them, and in ways that are unimaginable. The devil does make a cameo in this book. So I'm excited for all of you who are going to read it or who have. You know how it ends. And I cannot wait for the second book. It's not going to be High School Hell 2. I promise. Um, I want to give the title away so bad, but I'm not gonna. It's going to be a continuation of High School Hell, but in a different form, which I love because I'm already working on it, slightly working on it. But yeah, go out and get High School Hell if you haven't yet. It's ebook form and paperback right now. I'm thinking about doing the audiobook possibly. Um, but yeah, please go get it if you haven't already. You're going to love it. It is, if you were bullied in high school, this book will definitely bring that to life in a good way. Everybody gets their karma in the end. But yeah, thank you for watching. I cannot wait for you to see this podcast episode with C.E. Arnold. He is a great thriller writer. So without further ado, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of For the Love of Writing. I am here with C.E. Arnold. I'm very excited to meet you and to do this one and get to know about your writing journey. Before we start, I want to say like, subscribe, go on, check out C.E. Arnold's books. I cannot wait to learn about them myself. How old were you and what got you into writing?
Oh man. And the funny thing is you've asked every author that I've seen your video, you've asked that same question. I'm still not prepared for it. I started writing as a kid. And a lot of it came from just I was enjoying reading, I was enjoying comic books. And so somewhere probably by pre-teens, I started writing stories because I enjoyed doing it when I was getting those assignments at school. But I didn't actually do any professional writing or anything like that until it wasn't until COVID when I actually sat down to write my first novel. And, you know, by then so much time had passed. I didn't take it seriously until my wife really encouraged me.
That's good that you have that encouragement. I My wife's very supportive of my writing. She's what got me back into writing. And I started writing when I was like 9, 10 years old.
Wow.
And I stopped in my 20s. And then I started back up in my like mid 20s. And yeah, the fact that your wife's encouraging that's awesome to have a partner for that that's supportive of it. So you started really during COVID, like dive
Hmm.
deep into it. That is the best time to dive deep during like a pandemic lockdown.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, you're either gonna, go stir crazy, start drinking, or why not find a new hobby? And that's,
Oh yeah,
writing became it. So I started
but
writing.
I'm happy you picked the writing. I know a lot of people that went stir crazy and started drinking and they did not. They don't have any books.
Yeah, me too.
Um, so, C.E. Arnold, I first want to say, I know your name's Chad, but
Mhm.
C.E. Arnold is like when I first saw your name on Facebook, I thought to myself, I had to go on your Facebook page because I was like, is this guy must be like a big author just because like the name stuck out. And I clicked on your page and I was expecting to see like a million, like, how people have like big authors have like a million followers.
Hmm.
I was expecting that. And I think you still got a decent amount of followers. And just from stuff I've seen about, you've put up about writing and things like that and your own stuff. It's very inspiring to see somebody else doing that. There's so many people doing it, and when a certain one catches your eye, I don't know, it's like a spark or something you get. Like you wanna know about them and their books and their writing journey. Um, well, how many books do you currently have out?
So I published two. I published Ascension back in March of 25, and then on Halloween I published Hunting Karma, which is the re most recent. That's a thriller novel about a serial killer. And they both, like I said, I started writing back in the COVID days, so they both were well written until 2025, and I was pursuing traditional publishing for a long time before I decided I was going to do it myself. And so I published two this year. I don't know if I'll ever do two in a year again because that was a lot. But I'll never say never, but it was a lot. And yeah, I've
Yeah.
enjoyed doing it, but man, I've learned a lot this year.
It's I know what you mean about the 2 in 1 year. Yeah, I did that. I did that 2 years in a row. My first four books were each like back to back, writing them all. It was like got one done in 6 months, and then did another one, and just kept doing that. It is a lot of work, and you just feel like all you're doing with your life is writing, but you enjoy it, so it's
Right.
fun. But
Yeah.
then it's like a bunch of stuff slips by the
Mhm.
wayside, and it's like, oh, my house is doesn't look like my house anymore. I need to start taking care of it. Oh yeah,
Right.
yep. It's weird. During COVID, I got nothing written.
Really?
And it's because my daughter was born right after COVID. And I just was focused so much on being a father for the first time that it was like, I told my wife I'm going to take 2 years off, and 2 years just kind of stretched a little more than I wanted it to. Uh,
Yeah.
so if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 48.
Oh, okay. That is awesome. I love having people that are older than me on. I'm only 33. I love having people older than me on. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting more wisdom. Um,
Yeah, we'll go with that.
but so the books you have out right now, you said the one's a serial killer book, which
Hmm.
reminds me of something I'd write, so I'm already intrigued. You already answered one of my questions about you wanted to go traditional, but you ended up going self-publishing.
Right.
So you prefer traditional publishing, obviously, if you
Well,
could. Like
initially, I
if you
thought
got
so.
accepted, you would.
Yeah, I mean, initially I thought so. I thought that would have been the path I would have enjoyed. But honestly, since I've published and I've actually met an author recently that was traditional published, and having that perspective helped me kind of think through, I work full time. The traditional publishing does have its pros and cons, but I feel like for me, independent publishing is probably best just because I don't, I don't have to be anywhere any specific time. I can do it on my own schedule. I can make my own
Yeah.
schedule, and that makes it a lot easier to put forth the content I want to. Whereas it sounds like traditional publishing, you don't get as many choices when it comes to that sort of thing. You got to be where you need to be, and you got to write what they say you need to write.
Oh,
Those kind of things, and it takes some of that creativity out of it. And so after hearing a lot of that perspective, I was like, yeah, well, maybe I dodged a bullet. I may have done it right.
you gotta be within what their writing genre is, what they want, kind of thing.
Right.
What the kind of
Yeah.
book they're trying to put out. And they have like deadlines. And I'm like,
Hmm.
my creativity doesn't have a deadline. I'm like, I write when I write, and if I'm not feeling it that day, it's not coming out. I can sit there for 4 hours in front of a screen, and I might get nothing.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll sit there for an hour, and wow, I feel like I wrote half a book.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your books. What are they about? The mainly start with the serial killer one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that's called Hunting Karma. In fact, got it right here. Hunting Karma is about,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I can bring it a little closer if it makes
Oh,
it easier to see.
definitely.
So Hunting Karma is about two detectives who are trying to chase down a serial killer, and the serial killer is using his means of karma as his MO for the victim. So, for example, if you're an arsonist, you're probably going to be burned alive, so that kind of thing. Um, and there's a story that goes along with it. I mean, obviously, I don't want to get too much in there because there's a lot of it's hard not to do spoilers, right? I
Yeah.
want people to be able to enjoy it, but I loved writing this book. It is vastly different than my first book, and it just came to me in a flash, and the words just flowed. And I had this thing, the book was written in 6 months. I had to go through editing and all that stuff, but that was so fast for me. That's um, and it just was such an incredible story that just came out of nowhere. And I just loved every minute of it. But yeah, it's a little bit of a mystery thriller. You don't know who the serial killer is at first, and detectives are trying to trace the clues, and as they think they're getting their minds wrapped around one scene, there's another victim. So it's very fast paced. It's a lot of fun. It's a good thriller. So far, my friends and family, it's starting to become the fan favorite.
Oh, nice. You are lucky. My my friends and family don't read. My wife reads. She's read every one of my books. And she's like my biggest fan, but it's like my mom has all my books and she's read a little bit of each one. And she told me
Really.
she's like I'm not a reader. She's like I'm trying to read them, but she's like I'm a slow reader and she's like I don't like reading, but she's like
Mm.
I'll do it for you. And
Yeah, I've gotten a little of that. There's
oh
been
yeah.
a few that's requested an audiobook, and I've been working on that. That's been another journey,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, I get it. The folks that have read it, there's been some that have really enjoyed Dissension. Others, as soon as they heard it was a serial killer and it was a thriller like that, that was where there was like, yeah, that's more up my alley. So,
Now you said Dissension, right?
hmm
Let me see the
yeah.
cover of that one.
All right. So this is Dissension.
That reminds me so much of my book High School Hell because of the pentagram.
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
seen the cover when you thought that, and that was another thing that reminded me about reaching out to you because, like, how cool is that?
Now I feel
Um,
bad. I feel like I copied you.
no, but because I mean, how many books have had that on the cover before I came along,
Yeah,
right? So, but Dissension, that's my baby. I love that book. In fact, that was one of the things that drove my desire to want to write was the story for Dissension. That thing's been trapped in my head for so many years. It comes from when I was reflecting or whatever, soul searching when I was a young man, trying to figure out what I believed. And I stumbled across the book of Enoch and started reading the stories that were left out of the Bible, and including the story of Azazel. And when I learned about that in the book of Enoch, how Azazel was imprisoned, I, the idea, just the spark was there. It was what would happen if he ever got out? What
yeah,
would happen if Azazel broke free? And that's the premise of Dissension. Azazel, a fallen angel, breaks free and seeks vengeance, and you know, just chaos everywhere. It's been a great story so far. I've really enjoyed it. I'm working on the sequel to that book right now. So, but yeah, that was my first book, and that's probably also the reason why my heart's attached to it so much because that was the first one I published.
oh yeah. The first one's always your baby. It's
Right.
my first one. How do I say this without bashing myself? I did a revision of High School Hell, and now I love the story. Way because I have a book convention I'm going to in February, and I was like,
Nice.
the two books I'm bringing, I said I'm gonna read through them. And the one book I just put out last year, and I'm like, I love it. There's nothing to change. It's exactly how I want it. I go through High School Hell, and I'm like, this is garbage. I'm like, the story's good. The way I wrote it is a young writer, because I was in my 20s, like late 20s when I wrote that. And I'm like, I've grown so much over the past few years, just gotta rewrite it. So I just rewrote the whole thing, and I was like, I gotta get a different cover now too, because I don't like the cover. So I changed it up a little bit. But but yeah, it's like I wrote a book called Shoot, like Chute, like
Okay.
parachute. And it's about these two brothers who don't really get along, and the brother who is like he's got a lot of drug problems he's trying to recover from, he loves skydiving and he's never been skydiving, but he really wants to go. So him and his brother, they go skydiving together and they get stuck in the trees. And then
Oh,
they
wow.
and they think, "Oh my God, we're gonna be stuck here forever. Like, how are we ever gonna how are we gonna like get out of here?" And I'm not gonna ruin anything or spoil anything, but the least of their worries is them being stuck in those parachutes when they realize
Wow.
what's in the woods. And I have them dangling there in the woods to where if a person jumped up and tried to get them, they probably could.
Okay.
And they don't know how to get out of their suits because they've never done it before. And I just thought them dangling there like victims and just hunted and not even by animals, but like I'm not gonna ruin it. Plus,
Okay.
this is your episode. I wanted to share that with you. I know what you mean about your first book is like your favorite book, pretty
Right.
much. It's like a special place in your heart. So it's called Ascension, and the other one is called Hunting Karma.
Yep.
Is Karma the name of the person?
Well,
I don't want to spoil.
that's not really a spoiler. So
Okay.
the nickname he gets later in the story is Karma Killer from what's happening at the scenes of the crime.
Okay.
So that doesn't really spoil anything, but that's the nickname that the killer gets.
Is it anything like Saw, like the Saw movies or no?
Well, maybe there's a little bit of hint of that. I'd say I've gotten some feedback of comparison to Seven.
Oh, okay.
So which was kind of cool. I took that as a compliment. It was one of those. I when I wrote that, actually, I had to rewrite it because originally I did have the perspective of the killer, and it got dark quick. And I was like, well, I want people to be able to enjoy this story, you know. So then I changed my approach. So you're getting the perspective from the detective. So you're seeing the scene of the crimes for the first time when they do, and that kind of thing. So
Oh, okay.
so that's why I think the comparison to Seven is like that, you know, because I think that's the same approach throughout the book is,
Yeah.
you know, very similar to that film. But yeah, that's I really love it. In fact, it's one of those things where every now and then I'll pick it up just to kind of review things, and it just I don't know. I'm sure you do it too. Like every now and then you just pick up your
Oh,
book
yeah.
and just review things, and it's almost like you're picking it up for the first time again. It's just I don't know. It's such a surreal thing to actually be published. It's yeah, I'm still enjoying it.
The more I write, I'm on my seventh book. Well, I'm on my seventh book, but I've got technically my seventh and eighth book because I'm doing a collaboration with another author.
Nice.
I don't know if you've seen the name on Facebook, Thomas Hunt.
Not on Facebook, but I did see. I think he was on one of your episodes.
Yeah. He
Yeah, a
wrote
thriller writer, right?
he wrote Surviving Winterland, and I've just been reading a little bit, and I told him I was like, let's do a book together, like a short,
Cool.
like something really short, like 10 chapters. And
Yeah.
we've been talking about it. I keep on telling myself I'm gonna write the first chapter and send it to him, but it's I've got so much stuff going on. I just keep on pushing it off. Um, but that is amazing that the two books, it's like now I got to read Hunting Karma to see how that turns out and Ascension. I that's one of the things I love about having authors on here is you get like the to be read list just
Yeah.
grows to where like there's an author I had on like four authors ago where I'm still planning on buying her book once I get around to it. And I feel bad because that was like over a month ago. But it's I'm like I'm gonna get to it eventually. I promise. I can't buy every book that of the people that come on. I'd be spending like 100 a month
Right.
on just books. Um, so the one thing I want to really know that I'm interested in as far, especially with the serial killer book, which
Mhm.
this would actually answer one of my questions. What's the craziest thing that you've ever researched on the internet for a book?
I love that. Yeah, that's a good question because there's been a few things. In fact, my wife and I make the joke about if the FBI ever flagged my laptop because of the stuff that's on, you know, on my search history. Because, you know, I've done some research for both books, including Satanism and stuff like, you know what I mean? So I've
Yeah.
had to do research to go through. different elements because it's, background for the stories and making sure that, like the demonology and all that stuff I'm doing for Dissension. And then you go to the Hunting Karma book, and I'm doing some research on certain things around those elements of the crime. And then I actually have a work in progress that I've put off so I can complete the Dissension sequel, and it's called Calculated Risk. That one's about a bounty hunter. So then I'm doing
Oh,
research on laws around bounty hunters, and so it's a good question. I can't tell you what the craziest thing is. It may even be like, the countries with extradition. Like, I don't know. It's there's so many things that I've had to research just to make sure that whatever element I'm getting in the book is I'm trying to get it as right as I can. That way readers don't get turned off by a book because something's so far-fetched. So yeah, no, that's a good question, but I honestly don't know if there's one particular thing. Like, I mean, again, demonology and Satan is probably the top of that
yeah.
list.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. If the FBI checks my laptop, I was looking up stuff in like Dante's Inferno, and
Hmm.
I was also looking up stuff about like Satanistic chants and Satanistic things like rituals and stuff, and where they're calling out the devil and trying to ask for the devil's help. And like in high school hell, it's like these two dumb kids who don't know what the hell they're doing, and they think they're casting a spell to get rid of their enemies, and they don't realize what they're summoning. Uh,
Gotcha. That sounds fun. That
and
sounds like a good book.
thankfully, that's not a spoiler. It sounds like a spoiler, but it's not. It's that book. It's only 140 some pages, but I get right into it. Um, I love the question parts so much. I gotta ask these, or we're gonna go on all day. Um, where's the craziest place you've ever written?
Okay. Craziest place I've ever written. Um, well, oddly enough, it was probably in a hotel room in the middle of Virginia. Um, I took my daughter to go see one of her friends that she hadn't seen in a long time, and they were going to go to the mall for the day, and I just holed up in this dark hotel room. The intent to edit, but that's actually when the idea of hunting karma came to me. So then I just started typing, and next thing I know, it's been hours later, and I'm, checking on her if she needs me to come pick her up or anything like that because I had been in the zone all day. But I don't necessarily write in crazy places, and most of my writing's done at home. But yeah, that was probably one where it was just again, I'm in the middle of nowhere in a hotel room, just typing away.
I picture you in a hotel room with the lights off, and the
Hmm.
only light you have is the screen and the little light up LEDs on the keys.
Yeah, that's about right. Except for I did have the movie Alien versus Predator in the background.
Oh, nice. I wish I could do that. I know people who put music on when they write,
Hmm. Yeah, I often
and
do.
I need complete silence. I don't know what it is. If I have my phone next to me when I'm writing, I find myself like going on YouTube and scrolling and
Mm.
watching shorts. Like the only time I try to use my phone is like, "Hey Siri, what's this mean?" And
Yeah, yeah.
it drives me nuts. I try to keep my phone as far away as I can. I go in my basement to write, and because my wife knows if I'm in the basement, she's like, "Leave him alone." And if she needs something from me, send me a text. Like just send me a text and I'll answer. If it's a simple text, I'm like, I'm not gonna care. I'm like, I need complete silence. And what's horrible is I'm renovating my like office where I do the podcasts and my writing. So right now I'm in my kitchen. So
Okay.
this is my curtains behind me. And I don't know. I'm not in my own space, so it's this uncomfortable feeling like I can't say whatever I want. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
wife's in the other room. But yeah, I love the hotel thing. I've had a few people tell me that they've written in hotels, and it's like I've always wanted to do that. I just don't want to have to pay for the hotel room.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, I was there for a different reason, so that's one reason. But yeah, if it
yeah.
wasn't for that, if it wasn't for that, but there is an odd quiet that you get. You know what I mean? In the most part, I mean, I put earbuds in and listen to music. So that was the other piece is, I'm just kind of in my own world then. And I think that's where it helps.
Did you ever find yourself while working on those two books, especially the Hunting Karma one? Did you ever get that like to where you're in the middle of writing it and you're getting that eerie feeling like there's somebody in the room with you, or like there's like you feel dark matter or tension in the room to where like not like a ghosty like a ghosty feeling, a ghost feeling, ghosties, but like a feeling of just like that in an abandoned building and there's memories there and you can feel them even though they
Okay.
aren't yours. Do you ever gotten that while writing?
I don't know about that particular feeling. I feel like that actually may help. So maybe I need to look at writing in a haunted house or something. But no, I've had like just the feeling that these stories are coming from me. And that gives
Yeah.
another element to it, to like, what I mean? Like, wow. Because like I said, that when I was that first version I was writing with Hunting Karma, where I had the killer's perspective, that was so dark. It was one of those like, wow, should I be concerned? Um, so that feeling in itself was a little bit more creepy, I think, and it kind of like made me think back to like some of the other, I'm thinking even back to like Secret Window, that the book from
Yeah.
Stephen King, like
Yep.
wow, what I mean? It's just one of those the things that come from your own creativity, how dark that can get and how
Yeah.
kind of crazy and creepy it can be.
I wrote not high school hell. I wrote Christmas Fear, and the whole time I was writing it, I'm writing about this just sadistic guy who's just the worst things you can think a person would do. To him, it's like no remorse about it. He doesn't care. It's the worst things you can think. And every day my wife would be like, I notice you're depressed lately. And I'm like, because I'm in the mind of a serial killer and I'm not enjoying it. Like
Yeah.
I'm starting to think, could I do these things? And then I'm like, I know I wouldn't and I couldn't do it or handle it mentally, but I'm like, I'm writing about them and it's getting in my head. And then at the end of the book, it's like some of the people that I created, I had to kill them off.
Hmm.
And some of them were in sad ways. And it's like I got to the last line. I knew it was the last line. I hit period, the end, and then I burst into tears. And
Wow.
I went in the living room, told my wife, I was like, the book's done. And she looked in shock. It's like that I was crying. And she's like, she read it and she's like, it's a great ending. She's like, it's sad, but it's a good ending. And I was like, I just spent like a couple years on that book and there some people died that I loved. And she was like, you're getting too attached. And I was like, yeah. There was like a week where I was in a grieving process because I started working on Christmas Fear in 2017 and in 2024 I put it out. Do you get that feeling when you're writing characters and you got to kill them off? Like they're like kind of sad that you're killing them.
Yeah, I think so in some cases, right? Some characters I don't get so attached to, but there's other characters where you're just like, man, like, it's just I don't know, you get just your mind wrapped around where you are in the story and with those characters just being boom, they're done. It does kind of like, like, okay, you got to kind of center again. But I think Dissension is going to be the one that's going to probably hit me the hardest because I'm in the sequel now for the first book,
Yeah.
and I'm introducing more characters, but there's also, I mean, this is where the what hits the fan in the part two, right? So this is where it's things go up a notch, and so that one I think is going to be as that story plays out. I think that's where I'm going to start feeling that feeling probably a little bit more because of the characters that I have grown attached to because it's more than one book now. So I think it'll be interesting. I'm sure I will feel something like that.
Do you have a title for the second book yet or no?
Working title. I believe the second book we may just stick with Dissension: The Awakening.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and so that's the working title so far. That's the one that I feel like has landed the best with me, and I have gotten a little feedback from a few folks that I've tossed it around to. Had a few ideas, and that was the one that seems to get the most votes. So that might be where we're going with it. but I haven't gone down that to where I'm going to lock that in or even thought about the cover yet. You know, it's one of those things where I've gotten 20 chapters written as of this weekend, which is fantastic and I'm proud of. But I still got quite a bit to go. So
20
um,
chapters though, that's amazing. That is a huge accomplishment in any book. Um, my next question, this is one of my favorites, so don't
mhm.
judge me. Do you write sex scenes?
I have not yet. I'm not gonna say never because that's one of those things I think that is gonna end up eventually in any story, but so far my stories have not included any of that. So no, not yet.
Okay. Do you what's the wildest thing you've ever written?
The wildest thing I've ever written. Oh gosh. Man, wasn't prepared for that question. So I think back honestly to my youth when I was writing in a computer writing class and I had to write a story. It was supposed to be a nature-driven story and it ended up being the story where this golden eagle was the main character. And this is for a school project. And this book had everything from people being eviscerated to the eagle clawing eyes out. And I mean, I don't remember how old I was. I wasn't very, I was again probably 12, 13, somewhere in that age, you know, watched enough horror movies where it probably influenced me to just write some really dark stuff. But that one, I remember I got a good grade on it, which surprised me, but I also
Yeah.
got a note sent home to my parents.
That means you're good at it. That means you're good. They were that worried. That's a good thing.
Right, right. I had
Creative.
to, I had to tell everybody, no, this is just a story. It's just calm down. It's not real.
I don't really feel this way.
Right.
Just an idea I had for a book.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever killed somebody off uh in one of your books who you knew in real life?
Mm, no. I have a person in one of my books that is named after somebody in real life, but I've not killed off a character that was based on anybody that was real. Um, I
Nah,
have,
give it a
I'm sorry.
while, you will.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure there will be a moment because I read those
Oh
memes
yeah.
talking about how an author will put somebody in their book and I laugh about it, but yeah, I'm sure it may happen.
I've done it a few times now. It's very it's fulfilling.
Yeah,
In
therapeutic.
our own twisted ways. It is very fulfilling. Um, this next one, this is always my favorite. This is my favorite question to ask people. It really has nothing to do with writing, while at the same time I think it does, just because writing I think is like the human experience. Do you think social media has dehumanized us?
Yeah, I do. In fact, that's a very relevant question these days. I think that unfortunately, the internet in general, I think, has kind of caused that to where you've lost face value uh, to real experiences. If you're looking at it on the screen or it's not as personal as it is
Yeah,
if you're talking to somebody in person. And I think that's where, yeah, we've kind of taken a step back with this technology, just as a culture. And I mean, and I don't think we're alone in America with that. I think that's kind of just universal with the way the social media has impacted
yeah.
us, and a lot of it's on a subconscious level.
It's like just like things you see of like wars going on, or this person killed this person, or like that one girl got like stabbed to death on the train. My wife's a school teacher, and some of her students have cell phones, and they're in like just getting in high school, and they were
Hmm.
showing her the video, and the way they were showing her the video was like it was a YouTube short.
Right. Yeah.
And she told me when she got home, she's like, these kids are completely desensitized to violence. Like to
Hmm.
them, it's just like a video they're watching that's like a horror movie. And,
Right.
and I'm like, I watch those things and I'm like, how, like, wow, the world's like getting bad. I'm like, people are, some people are getting crazy. Yeah, that's I like your take on that. My next one, this one's a juicy one. How do you feel about trigger warnings?
Okay. Well, it's funny you bring that up because I mentioned about working on trying to get set up for some audio, audiobooks and or Audible, excuse me. And in the production, I warned one of the producers about, the contents of Hunting Karma.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks in production, I get the message that he doesn't want to continue any longer. Um, so I don't know. It's one of those things that you're picking up a book, you're usually going to be looking in a particular genre, and so if you're going in a book that's about serial killers, you know what to expect.
Yeah.
If you're going to open a book about romance, you know what to expect. So those things where trigger warnings can sometimes, I don't know, it can take the element of surprise out of a book, in my opinion. You know what I mean? If there's an element of surprise, it's going to, shock the reader that sometimes is helpful for that story. And
Yeah.
so if you're throwing in the trigger warning that says it may contain these things, that I think sometimes limits that shock value, which I appreciate in books. So I'm not against trigger warnings. I haven't done one yet.
Yeah.
But again, some of that I feel like is you pick up one of my novels and read the synopsis, you're likely to understand that there's going to be, dissensions, got the pentagram right on the cover. You're going to probably read about some
Oh yeah.
demons or, you
Yep.
know, or, hunting karma, it says right on there that they're chasing a killer. So I feel like, I think sometimes we get a little crazy with the trigger warnings. Not to say they're not needed, but it's one of those things that sometimes if you're looking at a genre, you should be willing to accept that you're going to read that. And I don't know. I guess what bugs me the most is when I see that reviews are based sometimes on trigger warnings, and I think that's
Yeah.
unfair.
Oh, it drives me nuts. And my last question for now, just because we got a little over 3 minutes left.
Okay.
Who's your favorite author and why?
Okay. Um, I'd have to say Dean Koontz. He's got such a sense of humor that just resonates in his even in his stories, whether they're thrillers or not. And I don't know, his character driven stories. I've always loved that. Um, I like Stephen King a lot.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But Dean Koontz I think has always been my favorite. And he's had such a broad range, and it's mainly thrillers, but it's been such a broad range of novels. Um, and that may also come from like he was one of the first adult novelists I read, what I mean, when I was younger. But still, I really enjoyed his novels over the years, and just him as a person. He's quirky, he's funny. Even now, he still posts on social media, and he's
Yeah.
just a funny guy.
Oh yeah.
But again, I love Stephen King. I know those are probably like your staples for thrillers and horror, but they're so popular for a reason.
Oh yeah. I grew up on Stephen King. I think The Shining was one of the first books I ever picked up and really wanted to read. I read Salem's Lot cover to cover in one day, and
Wow.
I couldn't put it down until it was over. And by the time it was over, it was like dark out. And I told my wife, I I told her because when I was little, I tried to read it and it was just too much for me. It was like
Mm.
almost like 500 pages or something like that, and I just
Yeah, it's a big book.
and now that I told her I was in my 20s, I said I'm gonna read a little bit of Salem's Lot, and then I just couldn't put it away.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I like his newer stuff too, but I miss when he wrote pure horror. I feel like every writer's I feel like some writers' best books are back in like their heyday when they were just starting out. But I do like his because I know he's got crime books now, like that book Holly
Oh, I love that book.
I recently bought. I can't wait to read that. I've got it on the shelf collecting dust, but I gotta read it already.
That was one that I had done in a weekend. It was so good. So you're gonna enjoy it.
But
And oddly enough, I mean, I don't know if you realize, but he also wrote under the pen name Richard Bachman. So he's
yeah,
been writing thrillers the entire
I
time.
got the Bachman books. I even have
Yeah.
Rage. Oh yeah, yep. I've
That's
got the
great.
controversial one. I couldn't help myself. I love it. So before we end it,
Mhm.
let everybody know where they can get Dissension and Hunting Karma.
Okay. Well, they are both available on Amazon, and they are both available for Kindle Unlimited if you have that membership. And I'm working. Hopefully this year we'll get them out on audiobooks. I may even record it myself, but we'll see.
That's
But
the
yeah,
best
they're
way to
all
do
available
it.
on Amazon.
Oh yeah, record it yourself. It's the
Um,
best way.
yeah, but I have a link, cearnold.com, that gives links to all the content. So,
All right, sweet. Well, thank you for coming on, CE Arnold, and I'll have to have you on again, okay?
all right, sounds good. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. You have a good night.
You too.
Bye.